Well, with the election now over, it was a big one for the Republican Party here in Arizona, maintaining control of both the House and the Senate, despite a lot of spending by the Dems to flip it. Senate President Warren Petersen is here now to talk more about it. Warren, thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, so we're going to talk about Governor Katie-Hobbs in just a moment. But first, I mean, you have to be feeling pretty good about how the GOP did on November the 5th.
Yeah, thrilled. We, up and down the ticket, we won pretty much every single race. And of course, we also saw, what we're calling a red wave nationwide.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that red wave in 2022. It didn't happen, right? But 2024, it clearly did happen.
Yeah.
Not only across the country, but here in the state of Arizona.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We started immediately after 2022, started working on races, candidates. We recruited really good candidates. We just really feel like we had better candidates, and we were winning on the issues.
So we wanted to bring you in today, obviously, to talk about the trip that Governor Hobbs made to Nogales to talk about border security. What is your reaction to that? Because she did talk about, first off, she was going to do something kind of unlike Governor Gavin Newsom, where Governor Gavin Newsom has basically been kind of front and center saying, whatever Trump does, I'm going to push back on it. Governor Hobbs has kind of taken a different approach, just initially saying she was going to work with the incoming administration to work on border security. What is your take on what she has said?
Well, she's been talking about border security for the last couple of years, and unfortunately, her words and her actions have not really matched. She has done things as far as on the humanitarian side of things, but the problem with just focusing on humanitarian issues is that you make Arizona a magnet. If you don't focus on the illegal immigration and on things to deter illegal immigration, then really all she's doing is encouraging more people to come here illegally.
So obviously the voters, passed Prop 314. And what is your take on that?
Well, I think obviously the voters agreed with us that we need to secure our border. The whole purpose of the law was to enforce and do what the federal government has been completely failing us on. Now, fortunately, President Trump's coming in, and he's clearly going to secure the border. He's clearly going to enforce federal law. But we now have 314 sitting there as a tool. It can be used in collaboration with President Trump, or maybe it's just something that we have in the toolbox in case we end up with another president and another administration who refuses to enforce federal law.
We do talk about immigration here and Arizona, and I've talked about this with Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb too, and he acknowledges that we do have a lot of undocumented folks across the state of Arizona. They contribute to our economy. Many have been here for a long time. What do you say to some of those folks that have been here for a long time, that have been contributing to our economy, and that this thought of mass deportation is frankly, I mean, it would impact our economy, frankly, here in Arizona.
Yeah. Well, what I've heard President Trump say, and the way I think all Republicans feel, is that we appreciate immigration. We appreciate immigrants. We just want them to follow the legal process. They've said that they're going to focus on, the first million is going to be the criminals and the really bad folks. But if anyone is here illegally, they shouldn't be surprised that they face the specter of deportation. What they need to do is follow the legal process and come here legally. And those people that do follow that process, they're some of our best citizens, of course, and we welcome them with open arms.
The legislative session that is upcoming, there's, I'm sure, a lot that you guys are going to be tackling. One issue that has already come up is just the election in general. And I know that Supervisor Galvin was already tweeting about it today, maybe potential some election reforms that you all will be looking at. Is that something that you will be considering and working with lawmakers to try to make the election process? I mean, it is smooth. It just takes a little bit longer, and you allow 400, 500,000 people to drop in a mail-in ballot on the day of, and it just slows the process of counting. Yeah.
So we've had some pushback on this issue in the past. I'm glad to hear that the counties are on board and more open to allowing us to change the law. One of the very first bills I'm going to introduce will be to follow what the Florida model and do a cutoff on Friday for drop-off ballots. That will make sure we get results quicker. We're holding a meeting actually tomorrow with the Florida Secretary of State. I have several lawmakers there. We have supervisors there. Supervisor Galvin's going to be there. Supervisor-elect Lesko is going to be there. And we're going to be making sure that we don't miss anything as far as what can we introduce to make sure that Arizona gets election results night of.
Okay. And that's the thing. I mean, you want it to be, our system is great because it is lenient, I guess you would say, right? But you also, if you are going to have that cutoff, you want to make sure that education is out there, and you tell people you got to drop it off the Friday before.
Yeah, of course, there'll be a lot of education that needs to happen, but I mean, people are used to deadlines, and there's plenty of time to vote. I mean, people already have, more than three weeks to turn in their ballot.
Right.
There's a cutoff on the day where you need to drop, the last day to mail your ballot. People will just need to know now this is the last day to drop off your ballot, and then after that you can vote early in person, and day of you can vote in person. So people have plenty of options, but if we're going to get results night of, we got to make sure that there is a cutoff for dropping off your early ballot.
I know outgoing recorder Stephen Richer has also been a proponent of this too. He's talked about it as well. Real quick, this just came up. I have to ask you about it. Lori Roberts, she just wrote about it. Possible challenge to Chris Mays. Is this something that you're looking at as Attorney General?
Yeah.
She literally just wrote about this. I have it hot off the press that you might be challenging Attorney General Chris Mays in the future.
Yeah, I'm seriously considering that. I've been deeply concerned as I've watched that our current Attorney General is not enforcing our laws. In fact, the current Speaker and I have been kind of the de facto Attorney General in a lot of ways because we've been stepping up and defending the laws that she has failed to defend. She, was opposed to, she stymied the execution process of a murderer here, and yet she wants to go after Donald Trump for free speech. So, I think people are, I think she's out of touch with our voters, and I think that Arizona deserves an Attorney General who's going to defend the law, who's going to keep Arizona safe, and somebody that they can count on, that's not going to be, get some of these things that are so clearly either constitutional or unconstitutional, getting those things wrong.
Okay, so that'd be 2026. Yeah.
2026.
Okay. All right. Warren Petersen, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me on the show.
I really appreciate it.